Well, I said it would be a long time before I did another one of these, but surprise, I'm doing one. Um, it turns out one of my classes this semester, I took a 1 credit class for like making a professional level portfolio for game design, and turns out I need a bunch of portfolio material to make a portfolio. As crazy as that is, so I actually need to work on this to get it to the point that I'd be happy to put it in my portfolio and show it off. And so, I want to kind of upgrade and enhance a lot of the systems to get it to the point where I have, 5, 6, 7, 8 different systems that I'm happy to show off. So, on that note, this video is mostly just about enhancements to a couple of the systems I already had. But they're ones that really change how the game feels, even though they're fairly minor. So, first of all, if you've watched previous videos, you'll notice there's a couple extra settings here. This is, kind of like a weapon I could have made before. Pretty simple and easy. The first thing is there's recoil now. So, let's just make it a lot of recoil to show it off. The horizontal recoil is determined by the vertical recoil. Like the higher your weapon is like pointing from its initial position, the stronger the horizontal recoil is. So it's basically, the horizontal recoil is basically a multiplier of the vertical recoil. So you don't want to make it too crazy high, but that's just a reasonable amount of recoil. And like, just to show that off, if I said 4 vertical and 4 horizontal, it's probably going to kick, it kicks way crazy to the sides. So you don't normally want to do that. Like when it's low, it barely kicks to the side, but as you get higher and higher off of your intended position, the horizontal recoil gets crazy. But something like 2 and 1 is pretty good for like a standard weapon. That's a fine amount of recoil. So that's the first thing I added. I've also added a bunch of settings that you can actually change about the projectile to make it a lot more versatile. So first of all, let me just make the velocity pretty low so this stuff's easy to show off. But the proportions and the radius you can change now. So, if I want to make it really thin, but super tall and wide, I can do that. And then we'll just make the radius 50 to make it pretty massive. And look at that, now I can fire these like disc kind of things. So you can adjust a lot more about the weapons, and this really helps to create a lot of different weapon types. Along with, you can now adjust the lifetime of the projectile, along with its gravity and acceleration. So if I make this gravity something pretty small, like 0.2, and the acceleration like, I don't know, -3, and then I'll make the velocity like 1. So now you can see that actually, has gravity and it slows down over time. Here, we'll turn the gravity off for a second so you can see it slowing down over time better. So it launches pretty fast and slows down to a complete stop. So I can make a lot of different kinds of weapons now with these additions. So it ends up being super cool. And just to show off something kind of cool, like I could maybe shoot a bunch of spheres. Let's make it like pretty big spheres. We'll go fast fire rate, decent amount of multi-shot. We'll actually go like 15. We'll give it like 0.2 gravity and maybe actually that should be, no, we'll go like -10 for the acceleration, but we'll shoot it much faster. Let's see how something like this looks. Okay, so that's pretty neat, but if I add a lot more spread to it, because all those projectiles were basically directly on top of each other, now we got some cool stuff going on. So I can have a lot of crazy weapons now with all these additional things that I can change. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I can make some super cool stuff now. Start designing some really unique weapons. And that's pretty much everything that's changed here. Can make the recoil crazy as well, just to show off how wild it can get. So when it gets too high, you know, but like the system, I'm just happy it works, you know, even with recoil this crazy high that you would never actually want, you know, the system doesn't break. It still all works. It just looks pretty awful. But then other than that, the other thing I worked on was just a little more fluidity, can't speak, with taking damage and those systems. Shield gating is now fully working as well, so you can see health and shield go gray. It's all based on the algorithms from Warframe, so all the exact amount of times dependent on how much shield you had before it broke should be working, or not should be, they are working. I copied it directly from the wiki, so all the shield gate timing is exact. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything for now. Let me turn this down so it stops hurting my brain. But yeah, just a bunch of cool additions to the system. Just trying to flesh out, so like my whole weapons system, even though I keep thinking it's done, I keep kind of finding more and more stuff to add, like this, you know, all these projectile changes and recoil, and I think they really add to the feel of the game. So I'm very happy with this right now. I think that's really all I have to show off for now. The main point of this video is showing off those small things, and then also just an update that I might actually still be able to make videos and work on this fairly frequently throughout the semester, since it'll actually benefit my class. So yeah, that's about it. Also, oh, another thing that I wanted to ask, if anyone actually watched this long. I know the average watch time is like a minute, so I doubt anyone's made it here. But what kind of stuff do you guys want to see me work on? Not crazy things, like you can see where the game is right now, you know, like requesting stuff that is obviously insane. I'm just trying to think of something off the top of my head that's totally insane. Like, I mean, specific interactions with specific warframes, and you know, certain systems, like things that happen in levels. Like I obviously can't work on that, but you know, things like, do you want to see me work on some abilities next? Like I could try and just make her whole kit work, because that's going to be the first one I do when I do work on abilities. I could do some extra stuff with projectiles, like eventually I want to add some homing options along with explosives. I could do some UI upgrades, like a lot of visual upgrades with this kind of stuff, make the menu look better. I need to do enemy drop tables, so you know, it would only be for the few enemies I have in at this point, just basic Greenear Corpus and Infested, but make it so when they die, they actually drop, you know, the correct health orbs and energy orbs and whatever at the correct rates and all that kind of stuff. I could add Eximus enemies, that shouldn't be too crazy. I could finish getting Overguard working. There are lots of things I could do, and I don't really know exactly what I want to work on, so if there's anything in specific that would be interesting, let me know. But yeah, that is about it. So thank you for watching.